This is a list of the top 50 future stars in the world of football. Job Bellingham. Talk about pressure. For the uninitiated, Job Bellingham is the younger brother of Real Madrid star Jude. And there are those who believe the 18-year-old will eventually reach a similar level to that of the England international. Nestor Irankunda. Not since Tim Cahill retired have Australian soccer fans had a genuine world star to call their own, but that might be about to change following the emergence of Nestor Irankunda. The forward has already agreed to join Bayern Munich in the summer of 2024 for a fee that will double the previous record sale by an elite club. And it's easy to see why the German giants were so keen to snap him up. Benjamin Cremaschi. Most young players can only dream of getting to train alongside Lionel Messi on a daily basis. So Benjamin Cremaschi must have been dumbstruck when the 8-time Ballon d'Or winner arrived at Inter Miami last summer. Svinipan. Once a staple of European competitions, Norwegian outfit Rosenborg have fallen on harder times in recent years, but in Svinipan do seem to have developed a talent worth following. Augustin Ruberto. If Manchester City-bound Claudio Echeverri is the Batman of River Plate and Argentina's youngsters, then Augustin Ruberto is his Robin. Not as technically refined as his compatriot, Ruberto is a pure goal scorer, and one who is appearing on the radars of plenty of European clubs. Julian Rijkaard. Ajax are renowned for their development of technically gifted midfielders and wide players, but less well known for producing bona fide goal-getters up front. However, Julian Rijkaard looks like bucking the trend in Amsterdam, with a little help from Borussia Dortmund. Assane Diao. Born in Senegal but raised in Spain, Assane Diao's football showcases both sides of his upbringing. With the Real Betis winger a powerful and energetic runner who also possesses great technical ability with the ball at his feet. Archie Gray. Most football-mad families are fortunate if just one member of their clan makes it as a professional player, but for Archie Gray, playing for Leeds United is just part of the family business. Gray's father, grandfather and great-uncle all represented the Whites, but there is a real chance that the 18-year-old could surpass them all with his achievements. Julian Duranville. Back in 2022, when Vincent Kompany was asked to name who, other than Kylian Mbappé or Erling Haaland, he thought could challenge for the Ballon d'Or in the future, he named two players. Barcelona sensation Guy, and an unknown Anderlecht teenager Julian Duranville. As endorsements go, that's got to be right up there. Ethan Wanry. Becoming the Premier League's youngest ever player has not always guaranteed success at the highest level. But current record holder Ethan Wanry certainly has all the credentials to become more than just a quiz question answer as he continues to take the first steps in his senior career. Paris Brunner. While Youssoufa Moukoko maybe hasn't set the world alight in the way many believed he would when he broke into the Borussia Dortmund first team after his record-breaking exploits at youth level, there is a belief at Signal Iduna Park that the new Moukoko, Paris Brunner, can replicate his remarkable goal record in underage football once he graduates to the senior squad. Ben Doak. If not for an injury that required surgery in December, Liverpool fans would likely have seen plenty of Ben Doak in action this season, given the senior squad's fitness issues during Jurgen Klopp's final campaign in charge. However, the Anfield faithful have already seen enough of Doak since his arrival from Celtic in 2022 to know that the Reds have a special winger on their hands. Franco Mastantuono. Julian Alvarez, Enzo Fernandez, Claudio Echeverri. The talents to have emerged from the River Plate Academy in recent years is hugely impressive. And Franco Mastantuono looks set to add his name to that list. Mark Gear. How does one gain 500,000 Instagram followers within a matter of hours? Mark Gear's answer was to score with his first touch for the Barcelona first team, as his late winner against Athletic Club in October 2023 turned the striker into an overnight sensation in Spain. George Lineker. Dubbed the new Romelu Lukaku in Belgium, Royal Antwerp striker George Lineker actually got his footballing education in France after moving to Europe from Nigeria as a 3-year-old. He is putting that grounding to good use this season, with the teenage striker enjoying a superb breakup campaign. Paul Warner. An extraordinary talent was how former Bayern Munich manager Julian Nagelsmann described Paul Wonder after he made the attacking midfielder the youngest player in the club's history in January 2022, and that is a sentiment that is shared by most who have watched the teenager in action ever since. Isaac Babadi. PSV might be closing in on an undefeated Eredivisie season, but, off the pitch, their most important achievement of 2024 thus far was successfully negotiating a new deal with out-of-contract teenage star Isaac Babadi, who had attracted attention from the likes of AC Milan and Atletico Madrid. Elis Benseger. Until recently, Elis Benseger described himself as an artist in his Instagram bio, and the Monaco attacking midfielder has probably got that description bang on given the fluid way he is able to move with the football at his feet. If not for injury problems, his art might even have gone fully mainstream by now. Simone Profundi. Back in November 2022, Simone Profundi's potential was such that he convinced then Italy manager Roberto Mancini to make him the youngest player in over 100 years to represent the Azzurri. The forward's potential remains high, but he has since been forced to leave his homeland in a bid to truly kickstart his senior career. Jack Hinshelwood. Brighton have earned a reputation for being one of European football's smartest teams when it comes to identifying and developing potential superstars before selling for huge profits. However, it is one of their homegrown heroes, Jack Hinshelwood, who has really caught the eye in 2023-24. Eli Junior Krupi. Team Bakayoko saw firsthand the emergence of Kylian Mbappé at Monaco, so he knows talent when he sees it. As such, the ex-Chelsea midfielders claim that current Lorient teammate Eli Junior Krupi can be the next Mbappé. Carries plenty of weight. Dean Huijsen. Where can Huijsen go? There are no limits, because he has a level of knowledge, reading and playing of the game that is difficult to teach to a first-team player. He looks like a 30-year-old. Those are the comments of Roma interim manager Danilo De Rossi, who has fallen in love with Juventus Loani Huijsen since taking over at Stadio Olimpico. Francesco Camada. It was always going to take a special talent to usurp Paolo Maldini as AC Milan's youngest ever player, but that's just what Francesco Camada did when he made his Rossoneri bow in November 2023. The striker also became Serie A's youngest ever player that night against Fiorentina, having long been earmarked as a potential star at San Siro. Gianluca Prestani. In Argentina, being given the nickname Pulga comes with certain connotations. That was the same moniker bestowed upon Lionel Messi in his early days, so Gianluca Prestani has a lot to live up to in the coming years. The early signs are promising, though. Valentine Carboni. Back in June 2023, at a gala to celebrate the opening of the summer transfer window, Inter CEO Pep Marotta advised the assembled press to take Valentine Carboni in fantasy football this season. And though the Nerazzurri's attacking midfielder might not have put up numbers to please his fantasy managers during his loan spell at Monza, he has shown he can compete at the highest level. Amara Diaf. A genuine phenomenon, Amara Diaf has already made his full Senegal debut, at the age of 15, becoming the African nation's youngest ever player in the process. That international bow came off the back of the forward breaking Victor Osimhen's record for the most goals at a single U17 Africa Cup of Nations in 2023, and he looks set to follow the Napoli superstar to the very top. Asnau Drago. There has not been much to cheer about at Schalke in recent years, but the emergence of Asnau Drago has put a smile on the faces of fans in Gelsenkirchen. Standing at 6'3", the midfielder's stature belies his tender age, but Ouedraogo has shown in his short career thus far that he can put his physical gifts to good use. Lucas Bovell. Swedish football is at something of a low right now after an embarrassing Euro 2024 qualifying campaign. But there is hope that a new generation can lift the Scandinavian nation back to its previous heights, with 18-year-old Lucas Bovell having been earmarked as a potential leader of this next wave of talent. Desired. From Usman Dembele to Eduardo Camavinga to Matthijs Tel, Rennes's recent hit rate when it comes to academy products is among the best in Europe, and Desired looks like the French club's latest success story after an encouraging first 2 seasons in the senior squad at Rosen Park. Istvar Willian. It's not often that a prototypical Brazilian forward reminds you of an Argentine wizard, but it's already clear that Palmeiras protégé Estevão Willian, aka Messinho, is a rare breed. Luis Guilherme. While Endrick dominates all the headlines at Palmeiras, there is another academy product who spent his whole youth career playing alongside the Real Madrid-bound teenager who also looks set for a place at the top table of European football. Luis Milla. Luis Milla has long been tipped for the top by those who have followed Newcastle's underage teams in recent years, but nobody could have foreseen the immediate impact the 17-year-old has made on the first team this season. Arthur Vermeeren. Belgium's golden generation may be past their peaks, but that doesn't mean that the Red Devils will soon disappear into international obscurity, with a number of young talents having emerged in recent years to take up the mantle. Pau Cubarsí. After Pau Cubarsí shone for Barcelona against Getafe in February, his teammate João Cancelo wrote on the teenager's Instagram, "Franz Beckenbauer Cubarsí." So impressed was the Portuguese by the defender's mature performance. In truth, he is not the only one to have been wowed by the 17-year-old in recent weeks. Gabriel Moscardo. The importance of an elite defensive midfielder is becoming more and more apparent with every season that goes by, so PSG were unsurprisingly keen to bring in a potential game-changing NO.6 when Gabriel Moscardo became available for just 20 meters in January. Guillaume Restiers. When asked what he made of New France under 21 seconds NO.1 Guillaume Restiers, manager Thierry Henry laid out some pretty lofty comparisons. "He gives me the impression that he has 200 games in Ligue 1 already," the Arsenal legend said of the Toulouse goalkeeper. "He reminds me of the young Fabien Barthez." Kendry Pays. Chelsea have shown they are not afraid to spend big to ensure they acquire the superstars of tomorrow and, in Kendry Pays, they look to have secured themselves a gem. The 16-year-old will join up with the Blues in the summer of 2025. Rooney Bargi. Few players can claim to have a winning goal against Manchester United in the Champions League on their CV before their 18th birthday. But that's exactly what Rooney Bargi was able to conjure up as his late strike down to the Red Devils in November. Joral Hato. Even for a club such as Ajax, whose history is so steeped in developing young players, seeing them being led out for a European match by a 17-year-old earlier this season was quite the sight. But that just speaks to the maturity possessed by Joral Hato. Antonio Nusa. The Norwegian Nimmer is quite the nickname to live up to, but, so far, Antonio Nusa looks capable of following in Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard's footsteps by becoming a footballing face of the Scandinavian nation. The winger's stock has risen significantly over the past 6 months and Club Brugge are almost certain to cash in at the end of the campaign. Nusa was linked to Tottenham and Brentford in January, but the deals never became reality. Now on to the top 10. Leny Yoro. Leny Yoro is extraordinary. "Never in my career have I come across such a mature young man." Those the words of Lille manager Paulo Fonseca, who has overseen the development of one of Europe's, if not the world's, top defensive prospects, and whose performances are now set to kickstart a bidding war this summer. Claudio Echeverri. Many young Argentines have wilted under the pressure of being dubbed the next Lionel Messi, but Claudio Echeverri certainly seems to have both the talent and character to carry the burden. Certainly, Europe's biggest clubs went out of their way to secure his signature over the past year, only for Manchester City to win out in the end. Kenan Yildiz. Few teenagers can claim to receive regular phone calls from Alessandro Del Piero after their matches, but Kenan Yildiz is no ordinary teenager. Having broken into the Juventus first team around the turn of the year, the forward has already done enough to suggest that, like Del Piero before him, he will become one of the pillars of the Bianconeri over the next decade. Kobbie Mainoo. Finding reliable central midfielders has been one of Manchester United's many issues over the past decade of discontent at Old Trafford. But it seems that in Kobbie Mainoo they may finally have produced a player who is capable of controlling games at the very highest level. Vitor Roque. Brazil have struggled to find a reliable NO.9 since the retirement of Ronaldo, but there is a feeling that in Vitor Roque, the Silicao might finally have found an heir to Il Fenomeno. That is in part due to the similarities in both their styles and career paths, but there is no doubt that the 19-year-old has all the tools to enjoy an elite-level career. Arda. When it comes to signing teenage talents, few do it better than Real Madrid right now. So it should have come as no surprise to see the Spanish giants win the race to sign Turkish talent Arda in the summer of 2023. The playmaking midfielder had been linked with pretty much every top European club over the previous 18 months, and was already easy to see why. Matthias Tell. Bayern Munich's 2023-24 season has, to say the least, not gone according to plan. But one of the big positives to take away from the campaign at the Allianz Arena has been the development of Matthias Tell, who continues to make match-winning contributions despite having to wait patiently for a run in the starting lineup. The top three. Warren Zaïre-Emery. We will soon live in a world where Kylian Mbappé no longer plays for Paris Saint-Germain, and thus the French champions will be looking for gifted individuals who can lead them into a new era at Parc des Princes. In Warren Zaïre-Emery, they already have a teenager who can become the face of the club for the next decade, if PSG so wish. Endrick. Not since Neymar's emergence at Santos has there been the level of excitement that surrounds Endrick in Brazil, with the forward regarded as a superstar in waiting after his headline-grabbing emergence over the past 2 years. Real Madrid definitely agree with that notion. Otherwise they would not have agreed to pay the eye-watering 60 meters release clause in Endrick's contract back in January 2023. Now the best future star is Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal might only be 16, but within the corridors of La Masia his name has been whispered for some time already. The talk has long been that Barcelona's famed academy had done the seemingly impossible by conjuring up a worthy successor to Lionel Messi.